Hello world, my name is Zaire. Nice to meet y'all. This is my first ever video. Just really trying to get myself out there. One of my friends was really pushing for me to upload this, like really pushing me. Like would not shut up about it, on my head about it, like all week. But I'm kind of glad that they did because I've always wanted to upload videos and be kind of a YouTuber or just make content in general. But I've always found a reason to go against it or like, oh, overcomplicate things, pretty much just making excuses. But every time I talk to my friend, like, and bring a new reason to why I couldn't do it, they just kind of disproved why I could do it. So I was like, well, dang, you got me there. I might as well just do it. But that's about it. As you see from the title, this will be a review of the Superman movie, which I recently saw. I wasn't gonna see it because I was like, don't get me wrong, I love Superman, but how many times are we gonna, restart the story with, the whole DC? But for whatever reason, actually, my friend is the reason I saw it too. They wouldn't shut up about it, and they were like pushing me to see Superman too. So I went to go see it, and I actually enjoyed it. So how this video is gonna work, I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna start off with my likes and my dislikes, and then at the end, I'm gonna give a review. If you just really want to know about a random guy's review in the Superman movie, you can just skip to the end. But without further ado, let's get into it. All right, let's start with the likes. So overall, I did like how they portrayed Superman. Like, he was pretty cool, pretty passionate, and pretty true to the overall character I see of Superman. Just a passionate, caring guy. Super traditional man. Like, he's out here saving squirrels and dogs and whatnot. He's out here worried about, giant freaking monsters. Like, oh guys, let's not hurt it. Let's take it to some space zoo or something. Like he like cares about literally everybody, even arguably Legs. Like he doesn't like do anything crazy in the movie towards Legs or anything, which he usually doesn't. But what I'm just trying to say is I like the portrayal. He feels a lot more human, and but still Superman. Oddly enough, like he still feels like you know, I'm Superman. I could like destroy you if I wanted to, but at the same time, like human. And you can make the argument that he's a little too passionate in the movie. I know a lot of people were complaining about that, like how he's always yelling or frustrated and just letting his emotion show. I don't personally mind it. Like, don't get me wrong, it is definitely like a bit more than I was used to. But like I said, I liked it. It made him feel a lot more human. You know, it was even like he was like lashing out unnecessarily. Like in the situations where he was lashing out, I would lash out too. Like the beginning scene with Lois and like she's just on his head and just doing all that. Like, bro, what are you doing? Calm down. Get off my back. But you know, let's see. I like how they definitely love how they portrayed Mr. Terrific. Mr. Terrific is such an underrated superhero, in my opinion. Like he's super smart, super cool, got the swag. His little mask thing is kind of cool, but he's kind of like Batman. He's just like super smart, but without all the extra like he's not on steroids like Batman is. He's like an average strength guy. That's why you see him with all the gadgets and whatnot. So, in my opinion, he feels like a lot more realistic compared to Batman. Like, Batman's like peak human evolution, like super strong. He can do all these crazy things. Nah, bro, nah. You're lucky. This is just like fantasy. Mission Terrific feels a lot more like like I said, realistic. And they definitely gave him his shine, with the little fodder enemies towards the end. He's fine beating them up, boom, 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 doing aura farming, doing his thing. And overall, just giving him some funny lines in there, just making him really fleshing out his character. I was surprised how much screen time he got, so I was really happy with that. What else? I like Clark's Earth parents. You can't really mess them up. Like I feel like it's kind of hard to. Like you just make them like traditional, like old country people, probably from Texas. You know, uh, there's not much else to say with that. It felt like how Clark's parents should be, or usually are displayed. So that's another thing I liked. Let me think. I like Crypto. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know too much about Crypto. I wasn't really a Crypto guy growing up. I wasn't really like, whoa, I gotta know about Superman's dog. Or I was kind of, I thought it was always kind of weird that he did have a dog. So I didn't really care for it at first. I was like, okay, yeah, he has a dog, whatever. Like maybe he'll be in a scene or two. But I don't know, he was just pretty funny. He was a funny dog and like a realistic dog. Like, the ones who are kind of just jerks and kind of do whatever they want, but at the end of the day, they're still lovable. You can't be mad at them. Like, they're goofballs, they're scoundrels, but you can't be mad at them at the end of the day. And, he helped out. He helped out. When it really mattered, he helped out. He buckled down and he did his thing. So I can't really say anything really negative about Crypto. Uh, I like Lex's character overall. There are definitely some things I didn't like how they portrayed about him, but he's still kind of the same guy, super egotistical, super smart, super hypocritical still. Just, the classic things you look for with Lex. That's just who he is as a person. I'm trying to think. I really enjoyed that. But Guy Gardner. Oh man, I did like Guy Gardner. He's another character I don't know really too much about. I was always more of a Jon Stewart guy, which I kind of would have appreciated if they added Jon Stewart. But I'm not mad that they didn't. He's not like the main Green Lantern anyway. But Guy Gardner, he was pretty funny. I don't know what was up with the suit. The suit felt kind of weird to me. I didn't know. I don't know why they didn't go with like a traditional Green Lantern suit. It's kind of freeball their own thing there. Speaking of suits, back to Mr. Terrific 1 second. I did like his fit in the jacket. Was clean. That's a clean jacket. If I'd probably wear that jacket, I'm not gonna lie. But back to Guy Gardner. He was pretty funny. Pretty good comic relief. He wasn't like too annoying, or he wasn't just like kind of there, but he did things. He was like helpful. He was funny, and I don't know. He wasn't too much. Sometimes I feel like comedic reliefs kind of do too much and are constantly trying to be funny, but it honestly felt like he was just being himself. That's just who he is. He's just kind of that kind of guy. So I did like Guy Gardner. Um, what else? I like Lois overall. When we first started the movie, I did not. I was so ready to hate her. I was like, "Whoa, what's going on with this portrayal of her?" Like, I don't know. She just seemed kind of like a hater in the beginning. Like, she was just being weird, and then she had the nerve to be like, "Oh, I told you I'm not good at relationships." Like, what? Charlie, you're self-sabotaging. What's going on here? Like, I'm very much used to Lois, the whole Lois hitting Clark, but liking Superman, and kind of going through that ordeal. But I guess in this one, they're already kind of like dating or whatever. She knows the secret. But like I said, I'm used to Lois, basically, I know she's a journalist or whatever, but like, at least how I view her, she's always kind of had like a bias towards Superman. She was never like super critical of him. Like Superman, he's Superman. He does good or whatnot. So it's kind of like, how can she be super critical? Which she can. Journalists. If you know anything about journalists, they will always find something to complain about. But uh, yeah, like at first I wasn't really feeling her, but by the end, like she redeemed herself in my eyes. Like she really like was putting in work trying to find Superman. I'm not gonna like take off points because she didn't say love you immediately. Like if she didn't know, she didn't know. But by the end she said that, and yeah, there's not too much else to say about her. I did like how they showed or at least how I interpreted how they showed how humans can be so smooth-brained and dumb sometimes. Like it literally, I thought the whole message that Lex stole was, I thought the lady had altered it somehow or anything, but once I realized that that's not the headcanon we were going with, like it was genuine. Even if well, not even the message was true, but even if that was the case, this video just told you he was put on this planet to become a dictator and rule over you, and to like get rid of those who oppose you. And your immediate reaction with the man right there is to crash out and throw things and berate him and aggravate him, even when he is ignoring you. Me personally, if that was the case, let's say I believed it. I probably wouldn't have believed it. Let's say I believed it, and I was there in that crowd. I would have been going home. I'm like, okay, man's crazy. I'm going home. I can't do anything against him. What am I going to do? What is me yelling in his face going to do or result besides me getting hurt? Luckily, you guys didn't get hurt, but you know what I'm saying? And if they sat down and thought for a second, he'd be doing a pretty bad job if he was like sticking to what the message told him to do. Like he didn't get rid of all the little bad people. He didn't track down all the social media people, ended up being monkeys, but he didn't search all of them down or anything. He's not like cultivating his own team, and he's like the lead or whatever. It was like a little team, but like he wasn't the leader or anything. Like they all just kind of helped whenever there was a crisis happening. He wasn't like going to like any presidential figures or important government figures besides ones causing trouble or anything. Like if he was really trying to be a dictator, like he was doing a pretty bad job at it. But it was just the fact that someone popular said it and had skewed it in just the right way that it was believable to the masses, and they just kind of ran with it without even thinking about it. Yeah. So I thought that was cool. I actually found myself being aggravated. I felt bad for Superman. I was like, if I was in this position, and I probably wouldn't have hurt them, but I'd be like, oh my God, like, what am I doing this for? Like, these humans don't even appreciate me. Like, I've done so much good time and time again. How many times do I got to prove myself? And I just like how also that the movie really showed how we as people oftentimes display our thoughts on other people. Like they're like, oh, he thinks he's high and mighty, he thinks he's above us, like he's grooming us, blah blah blah. um when really that's all what they were thinking. Superman didn't think that at all. Even with Lex, like he's like, oh, he's grooming us, blah blah blah. And you could easily just say that's like he was just lying, trying to get them to get on his side or whatever. But I personally think that Lex did believe what he was saying to some degree, because in his heart, if he had that power, that's exactly what he would do. Matter of fact, that's exactly what he is doing. Like he's the that's just kind of his character overall. He's a super popular figure, super smart guy, does all these innovations and good for the public or whatever. But deep down, he's like behind closed doors. He's a super villain, grooming the public to view him as a good guy. So it's like, how can he believe someone with great power can just do good out of the kindness of his heart when he doesn't do that? But yeah, I might be reading a little too much into it at that point. I don't know. That was my interpretation. But yeah, I did like the pocket dimension. I don't really like. Oh, I don't know. I just like how it looked. I'm a guy for space and cool visuals, and it literally just reminded me of like space. Nothing more to be said about that. All right, that concludes all the likes. Let's get into the dislikes. So overall, Superman did feel a little weak in the movie, and it's kind of how it kind of had the Invincible thing going on, to where we know the main character is like super strong. He's like this all being near almighty guy compared to what he's fighting, but he's trying to hold back, and you know, like we know he's holding back. We know he's stronger than what he's doing, but you know, it still appears that he looked weak, at least to me, a little weak. Even in the ending scene, like he was still struggling against the clone, even though he wasn't under Lex's command anymore and didn't have his directions to do what to do. But he was still struggling there. And then, like at the end, you could argue, oh yeah, he fought off all the whatever the soldiers were called. I don't even remember. I'm not gonna lie to you. But like those were like regular humans to my understanding. Like they were like humans in suits. Like come on, it's Superman. And with the kaiju, yeah, like I said, like he was just holding back the whole movie, trying to protect the city. And you can make the point that that's good and it adds to Superman. Super caring, trying to minimize damage to the city in general, not just taking care of the threat. But I don't know. Maybe they should. I feel like they should have added a scene or two with like an actual like big threat or him doing something crazy. I don't know. Like, I didn't like how Lex cried when he got exposed. I always viewed Lex as not really caring how the public viewed him. He cares, but he doesn't at the same time. Like he cares for his own benefit. It helps him if the public likes him, and what his public image does matter to him to a degree, but it's not something like personal in his heart. I've always felt like he super cares about. He's just like, is this kind of a means to an end? So it kind of was jarring when he like kind of broke down and had a tear going down his face. He was like, "Oh my God, I'm exposed." Blah blah blah. I didn't like how they gave him a girlfriend either. I've always kind of viewed Lex as just a man obsessed with his work and all his obsessions, science, Superman, whatever the case may be. But I don't really see him as a guy to have a girlfriend or even have time for a girlfriend. But I will say, even though I didn't like the fact that he had a girlfriend, I like how they portrayed their type of relationship it would be, which I would imagine that's how it'd be if he did have a girlfriend. Um, I didn't like how he was willing to let the girl kill Superman, with all the nanobites, whatever the freak they're called. I don't know. Again, I just view Lex as the kind of guy who's super obsessed with Superman that he wouldn't let one of his subordinates just kill him. If anything, like he would want to do it to him. He would want to do it himself, or at least have someone with the power to just straight up do it. Without like I don't know. Lex also did. I feel like they humanized Lex a little more than they should have. Like he's a villain, and that's the thing with all these new movies. They always trying to humanize the villain. I like villains. I like villains who are just flawed. That's just all it is. No, like nothing else. No talk jutsu out of it. I am a flawed person. This is my view. Boom, deal with it. I like villains like that. I think there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, with him crying, having a girlfriend and whatnot, and I didn't like how he wasn't like a lot. He should have been a bigger. I feel like Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor isn't like some scrawny nerd billionaire. Like he isn't like some Elon Musk or something. Like he also like works out. He's like skilled in combat or whatnot, and he has used gadgets on his like laser guns and whatnot to his defense and used against not just Superman but just in general to defend himself or whatnot. Like he's a lot more capable physically, and I wasn't really seeing that in the movie. He was more of a behind guy at the computer behind the desk kind of guy. Like I'm the brains of the operation, and you all just do my work kind of thing. Which he's also that, but he's both things, and I just feel like they just picked one and then picked the other, which is whatever. Overall, I did like Lex's character, so I'm not really complaining. But that's just saying. At least my yeah. I didn't like how they portrayed Superman's bio parents. I didn't like how they like, oh yeah, we're sending you here to be a dictator, and start a harem or whatever. I always thought it was pretty cool that Superman has to make his own personal decision to value his Earth parents rather than his bio parents simply because they're gone and whatnot. And it's always that, like, oh yeah, you can tell that your bio parents really cared about you, but they're just not here. So you have to make do with what you have. And because that's like a really hard thing to do. And I feel like that also makes him more human. But in the movie, they kind of like didn't really give him a choice. You're like, yeah, your parents, they're kind of wild, and they send you here to us, you know, so you can be a dictator. So yeah, you're not the man you thought you'd be. And I'm like, yeah, I wasn't really crazy about that. I kind of get why they're doing it. Just felt better for their plot, James Gunn's plot, or whatever the director's names. I'm not really big on directors. Not gonna lie to y'all. But like I said, I didn't really like how they kind of displayed him like that. But again, nothing crazy, just no nitpick. I didn't like how they displayed Metamorpho or Element Man. He literally just felt like a plot device. They're just kind of like, oh yeah, like, and it kind of just retconned him making kryptonite. He's never been able to make kryptonite. His powers, he's always been, you know, elements or whatever. But from my understanding, it's always the elements within the human body. Like he's not able to just, you know, make kryptonite and, you know, just hold it, just weaken Superman. Like I said, he literally just felt like a plot device. I didn't like Ultraman being the final big bad of the video. Like it just felt kind of lazy. If you're gonna go to, I feel like if you're gonna go the clone route, you have to go big or go home. You can't just be like, oh yeah, turns out the whole guy the whole time was just like a clone Lex made, but it's like kind of dumb. I don't know if it was dumb. I didn't think that was just Lex yapping. He seemed pretty like functional to me, but I don't know. Maybe we'll get some cool Bizarro stuff from that. I don't know. Just seeing him falling to the black hole or whatever, or the rift, whatever he fell in at the end. I don't know. My brain just automatically said, "Oh yeah, he's gonna be Bizarro or come back as Bizarro or something," or maybe, you know, he's just gone or whatever. But even if especially if he's just gone off of that, like it just felt kind of lazy. They didn't really have a big bad or anything to do. I would have loved to kind of see. I don't know. I don't know exactly what I would have liked to see. Like maybe there was a clip that I seen of one of the series where Lex is like inviting Superman to like a room with like the red sun around it or whatever weakens him and pretty much turns him to a normal man. And he's like, all right, like, you know, let's fight it out. I think I would have liked that a lot more than, you know, just Superman fighting some half, you know, half big clone or whatever. Hot Girl didn't get enough screen time or lines. I'm a big fan of Hot Girl. I fell in love with her character from the Justice League. Like I said, like she's a super hot-headed character. You know, her little mace or whatever is really cool. I don't know, she's just a cool girl. I mess with the vibes. And like the whole little story or ancestral story with her and Hawkman, I believe his name is Hawkman, yeah, or whatever his name is, and the whole John Stewart love triangle thing they had going on is pretty cool. So this kind of felt like they didn't really do her justice. She was just kind of there. She had a line or two. Oh yeah, kind of sassy. I mean, they kind of was trying to give her a scene at the end when she like kills the, you know, the whatever the guy working with Flex, but I don't know. It was kind of like whatever. I wasn't really like moved by it. I was like, oh yeah, you know, that's not brand for her. She'd probably do that. But that's literally about it. I think that's really all I have to say. So if we're including all the likes and dislikes, I'd give the movie like a 7.5 out of 10. And I don't know if that's considered a low score. Like, the movie was good. I enjoyed it. I would love to see a sequel. But, you know, just because all the dislikes kind of took away from the movie for me personally, but overall, I really did enjoy their take on Superman and look forward to what they bring to the future. Oh, wait, one last thing. No one just got the review out, so whatever. If you want to leave, if someone is even still watching, I didn't really like the cameo at the end of Supergirl just kind of being thrown in there. It just felt really random. It was just like, oh, okay, we're just gonna introduce Supergirl right now, just so casually like that, or whatever. I don't know. I did like this scene with her and Crypto. That was pretty cute. How, you know, he's like banging her up and all that good stuff. That was pretty cool. But and it looks like they're going the route where Supergirl is like a party animal and she's just going out, she's just having fun, she's super depressed, and then you know she has a big turnaround moment or whatever. Instead of just like the Supergirl that just crashes one day on Earth and then Superman finds her or people find her like, whoa, what's going on? And you know, teaches her how to live and whatnot. Which, you know, I don't mind. But like I said, I didn't like how they were just like, oh yeah, Supergirl's here. Yeah, cool. But I mean, at least we saw her. I guess. I guess I should just be more appreciative. But besides that, that's it. Gave the movie 7.5. Overall enjoyed. I'm probably gonna. The next video is probably gonna be about this book series called Bone. It's like a graphic novel, or not graphic novel. It's a comic book or graphic, whatever you want to call it. Graphic novel. I read it in elementary and in elementary school, and I literally just remembered. So I'm probably gonna do a review on the series, probably book by book. We'll see. I don't know. But peace. See you.